What's poppin', everybody? True Evil here, back with another Arknights Endfield video, and today what I want to be going over is the Endmin main DPS team, and the reason why is, one, this team actually does insane burst damage if you do the rotation correctly, which we're going to be going over pretty much the entire video and talking about how to build up the combo over and over again, and two, this team is going to be extremely accessible to most players, because Endmin is the main character. We're going to unlock dupes from doing the main story, as well as the weapon is extremely easy to unlock. The cost of getting it from the arsenal outright is just a little bit more than a 10 pull on the weapon banner, or you can pay $1 to get the 6-star weapon, which is going to be the most accessible of any of the 6-star, and it's really nice that this character is so strong. Usually a main character is a little bit lackluster, so it's really great that we have a strong main character. And the reason why this is going to be good for a lot of people is that if you are holding off and waiting for a banner character that you're really wanting to save up for, Endmin is good enough to last you for a long while. So without further ado, let's explain why Endmin is so strong and the rotation to maximize that damage. Endmin's kit is very nice because of how simplistic it is to use, more so than some of the other accessible teams like the Lightning team, which requires like sequencing, positioning to maximize on the damage, and if you mess up a little bit, it can really cost you a lot of damage. Whereas Endmin's kit, you're always going to be getting that maximum amount of damage pretty much always. And basically all you need to know is the combo skill is the main bread and butter of Endmin, and it's the easiest combo skill to trigger in the game because all you have to do is trigger another character's combo skill and you can follow it up with Endmin's. And then it's going to apply crystals, and then you're going to break the crystals for a lot of damage. Now, Endmin's ultimate, of course, is going to be the one that can do the most damage, but the main skill is also no pushover either, and they are going to be absolutely insane with the burst damage. So now we know how the kit works. We're now going to be talking about the other units and how to maximize on this burst damage, because once you are able to combo it with the other characters, you can really start pushing it so you can even beat some of the main story bosses in like 2 combo chains, which is actually kind of funny. So let's talk about the other units. First unit that we're going to be talking about that's going to go along with Endmin is going to be basically the only character which is a requirement for the Endmin main DPS team, which is Chen. Now, my Chen is lower level than all my other characters, and the reason for it is you're not necessarily using her for damage, you're using her to set up your combo, and that's because she is the easiest character in the game to set up combos with, and the reason for it is her main skill applies lift, and lift applies vulnerability, and then her combo skill triggers whenever they get vulnerability. So basically, main skill goes into her combo skill, which then triggers Endmin's combo skill, and then you're set up to either use Endmin's ultimate or the main skill, which is going to do significant damage. So really, really easy to set everything up with Chen. That's why she's in the party and is just really, really great. Not only is she great for setting up, but let's talk about her weapon. Chen's best weapon is Sundering Steel, which is really nice because A, you don't need to get a 6-star weapon for her, and 2, Sundering Steel is the weapon that was in the pre-launch event, so a majority of people have this weapon already at their disposal. It's a really great weapon for Chen because Chen's job is to apply physical statuses, which is going to trigger the unique effect of this weapon, along with she scales with agility and physical damage dealt. So everything is just making her better. Really, really nice to have. So definitely Chen is amazing. Let's go on to the other units now. Now, the next character we're going to be talking about is arguably the best character in this entire team, which is Lifeng. Now, the problem with Lifeng is it is the least accessible of all the characters to get in this team comp. And if you do not have access to Lifeng yet, because it is the first week, Pog definitely works too. Now, if you don't have either of those characters, Dapon can be used in this team comp, but Dapon is a main DPS and you would want to use Endmin as a sub DPS, and I think that Endmin is better as a main DPS in my personal opinion. So definitely want to focus on Lifeng if you got it, and the reason for it is the main skill, which applies susceptibility if they have no vulnerability stacks on them, and applies knockdown. So basically what you're going to want to do is use this skill to start off any of the battles, because one, it has a really nice AoE to it, and it makes it so they're going to take more physical damage. So this in turn is just going to make you pop off majorly. Then whenever you apply the combo trigger, it's going to allow you to get Link. And the great thing about Link is it's just going to make you do massive damage. So once you have it, you can either use Lifeng's ultimate or use Endmin's ultimate and just really pop off and do a ton of damage. You can also use Endmin's main skill for this, but it's just huge damage amp, and it's a lot of AoE on the main skill, which is really nice. So definitely huge major extra damage. And the great thing with Lifeng is that his second best weapon is almost identical in terms of damage potential as using him as a sub DPS, which is going to be Valiant. Now the great part about Valiant is that this weapon is going to be a weapon that you can get out of the weapon box. So that means everyone is going to be able to have access to it, and it's basically the same amount of damage as the signature when you're not using him as a main DPS, which we will not be. So really easy to obtain, a lot of nice damage, so you're going to be able to just maximize Lifeng right out the get-go. So definitely a great unit. Now let's talk about the last unit in the party, which is going to be the optional unit. Let's talk about the two optional units you can use with this team comp, and the first one is going to be Ardelia, who is arguably the most useful healer in the entire game, and she's going to function a little bit differently with this team because you're barely going to be using her. When you do use her, basically when you hit this combo skill, you're going to apply a temporary corrosion, and then you can use the main skill if you want to apply physical susceptibility. Now the only reason you're going to be using this way is one, if that pops up in the battle, as well as you need some heal and you're not going to use Lifeng's skill because you need some heals. So basically very situational healer. What you're really using her for is her ultimate with a 5-star weapon, which is Stanza. If you don't know what Stanza does, basically you use the ultimate and you get a team-wide attack buff, which is going to be really nice to just increase your DPS. And because with this team with Lifeng, Chen, and Endmin, you don't necessarily have SP recovery. You're just using this as a fallback heal as well as a damage amp. So very easy to use. Don't need a 6-star weapon, but you do need a 5-star weapon, which not everyone is going to have. So that's basically how you're going to use her, and she does function much better in other parties, but just she is a nice option to have, and since you're most likely going to be leveling her because she's one of the best units in the game, and we're getting her for free, then, you know, it's just nice to include her. The last unit we're going to be talking about is Pog, who is really great on this team for SP recovery, and if you don't need a fallback healer like Ardelia, then is definitely going to be the unit you want to use, but once again, not guaranteed you're going to get Pog. Now, Pog in this team comp is going to be sort of like on the back lines. You're mainly only ever going to be using him for the combo trigger and the ultimate. So based off that, it's just like this character's in the sideline and is there to SP recovery and ult. And his ult is very, very good. And basically, yeah, just an extra 4th unit that's just going to help do your main combo chain. Before we get into the gameplay, here's a quick little reminder of how the sequencing is going to work for this team to maximize on the DPS. So without further ado, let's get in on the gameplay, and if you haven't already, please press that subscribe button, smiley face.